Hello, host Eric here. I'm talking with famous people, and I want to discuss today something that was interesting that happened, which is my friend David messaged me and asked me to take down a video, or at least dename and detag him or something like that. I don't know. Because he thought the video sounded racist or seemed racist. Because it was originally titled Famous Person David Pushed Back on Racial Justice. And he's like, how can you not think that sounds totally racist? And I said, well, it does, but not the way you mean. I mean, it sounds racist. Like racial justice sounds racist in the same way that racial purity sounds racist. I mean, that's why you're pushing back on it, right? He's like, no, pushing back on racial justice sounds racist. I said, well, no. And my position is this. Obviously, any term like racial justice, it doesn't matter what the second word is. If the first word is, let's divide everybody, then the second word doesn't fucking matter. Racial justice, racial purity, racial whatever. First of all, as I've said many times before, race is not actually a thing, okay? It's not even a social construct. What it is a presumption that others can non-consensually define your identity. That's what it is. Nobody should be able to tell you what race you are. Nobody really seems to disagree with that. And yet, I should be able to tell you what my race is. Somehow, everybody seems to agree with that. And we're supposed to think it's something other than completely arbitrary. If, in fact, I can't tell you what your race is, but you can tell me what your race is, then it's like your taste in ice cream. You like vanilla better than chocolate. No, I don't. I like strawberry. Okay. I guess your preference is a real thing. Is it real that you like strawberry? Well, it's probably real you're going to order it right now if you're at the ice cream store, if that's what you're saying. It might be what you're preferring right now. Maybe you'll prefer it your whole life. I don't know. It's to say that you have a preference is more or less to describe in general, in this general time period, when I get ice cream, I get strawberry, usually. That's what it means to say, I prefer strawberry ice cream, or I like it, right? Same thing with race. If I say, I am an African American, then you might say, Host Eric, you're an African American. And I might say, no, I'm not. I'm Chinese. And if you then say to me, no, you're not, well, prove it. Some people think you can determine a person's race by a blood test or something. You can't. Absolutely not. Some people think that certain genetic clusters correlate with certain races. They don't. They correlate with the fact that people share genetics. So that some people who evolved close together are more similarly genetically, and some people who evolved close together over here are similar genetically. That's true. That doesn't mean we have races. It just means what I just said. Why should we infer that there's a race from that? Well, because there's this many distinct groups. No, there are not. There is this notion that there are 5 main clusters of genetic-based material that, is varyingly degrees combined with each other in varying different ways. Now, one thing that people often assume, but it's not absolutely not the case, is that skin color must correlate with one of those 5 genetic cluster base sets of genes or something. But it doesn't. So I don't know. There's no such thing as race. It's make-believe. It's a make-believe thing, like preference is a make-believe thing. It might be true for you right now. It might be a more or less accurate description of how things are going with you now. But because it's non-falsifiable, it's not useful for anything. We can't use it for anything without doing evil. And that includes seeking justice. If you seek racial justice, already you've done evil. Why? Because the only kind of justice that matters is justice for the individual. So when we talk about racial whatever, we're saying, let's prioritize a group. Okay, well, what group? Like men or women? No. A group of consensual identity tags. Well, how do we even know they have any similarities then? Oh, because this is what most people think. They're not actually consensual identity tags. It's genetically part of their identity. But it's not. It's a make-believe tag that we assign to people or assign to ourselves or are told we can use as a descriptor. Here are some things we can use as a descriptor. Is that individual tall or short? Are they thick or thin? Are they hairy or bald? Are they light-skinned or dark-skinned? Are they African-American or Caucasian? No, those words don't mean anything. Those words don't mean anything. I'm not Caucasian. I'm not from the Caucasoids. I am a human being. An individual, most importantly. Just like you. And anytime we think about a group, such as black people, when we talk about the cops and the problem being that they're killing black people, that's the problem, is that we're talking about cops killing black people instead of cops being constrained to their proper limits. If we didn't have them out there running around enforcing a bunch of bullshit, they would have a lot fewer opportunities to shoot people. You know, we're talking about cops shooting black people. Orlando Fastile, or whatever his name was. Oh, the problem is the cops shot him. The problem is he had 43 tickets before they shot him. Only 2 of which could have been written based on something the cops saw before pulling him over. You don't think traffic laws cause harms? They cause massive harms. Why did that guy get 43 tickets? Is it because he was black? It was because, for a variety of reasons, the cops felt like he would be unsuccessful in fighting back. Might that have to do that he had darker skin? Possibly. Probably. Not have anything to do with his race. He could have just been really tan. I mean, I don't know. It has to do with everything. It's a whole picture, right? The fact that it has to do with his race, if it does, is the fault of us saying things like that, of acknowledging race at all. We don't acknowledge the lies of anti-Semites when they say that people who ascribe to Judaism have tails and horns. We don't say, and let's say they talk about the science of horn and tail analysis of Jews. And they call it herstiology. We don't then say, when Jews are hurt, we wouldn't say, they're hurt because those individuals have been hurt because of their tails and horns. They don't have any tails and horns. Those people were shot because they're African American. There's no such thing as an African American. Sorry, that individual was shot because that cop criminally violated his rights. He was unable to do so because we have all sorts of stupid, shitty laws. That's it. Everything else is counterproductive. But surely, Eric, you can agree that black people get shot too, more than white people. The cops beat up black people more than white people. I agree that there seems to be a correlation between dark skin color and police criminality. Now, cops have a high tendency towards criminality in general. So we know right off the bat that if you are a police officer, you're much more likely to engage in criminal activity than an ordinary citizen. And it's possible that for those cops that do engage in criminal activity, a component of that may be they have biases. So they may prefer to engage in criminal activity against darker skinned people. They may prefer to engage in criminal activity against women, like that cop, Daniel Holtzclaw, I believe his name was, who raped a bunch of women in his capacity as a police officer. Because he could. Because cops aren't subject to enough punishments and enough scrutiny. They aren't forced to be transparent. They aren't held to a higher standard, they're held to a lower standard. That's why. Now, Daniel Holtzclaw attacked women. That doesn't mean that cops are anti-woman. Fuckface shot Philippe Castile. That doesn't mean that the problem is the cops hate black people. The problem is cops are criminal at too high of a rate, and they are violating the rights of specific individuals all over this country. And whether they violate the rights of all people who have dark skin, all people who have white skin, or something in between, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, because we can't fix the problem that way. We can't fix the problem by saying, no, no, no. You like dark skin now. Who fucking cares? The cop can be as biased as he wants, as long as he doesn't violate anybody's rights. Now, if he does his job properly, he conforms to equal protection under the law, and he violates no rights. Then his racism's irrelevant. We're all stupid about something. I don't like mayonnaise. Does that make me unable to work with mayonnaise? No. If I work at a sandwich shop, I can put mayonnaise on a sandwich, feed it to people. So, I don't like mayonnaise is not a reason not to hire me at a sandwich shop. Anybody who orders a sandwich with mayonnaise on it, I stab them? Well, the problem there is that I stabbed people, not that I don't like mayonnaise. Right? Pretty simple. So when I say push back on racial justice, I'm serious. It'll only cause more harms. Push back on racial equality. Definitely. It'll only cause more harms because the first word's the only word that matters. If you say, first, let's non-consensually divide people into groups, it doesn't matter what comes after that. It's fucked up and wrong. Thanks for watching Talking with People. And don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. It will clog your intestines and make you constipated well. Wouldn't you like to be constipated by cheese? I know you would. So go ahead and eat some today.